Hey, everybody. Chuck Fresh and Jake Estrada, producers of the Underpresence. How y'all doing today? We're sitting around on our butts. Jake doesn't have any pants on today because of this COVID-19 thing. We're bored to death. So we had to find things to do, things to talk about. We want to stay involved in paranormal, you know what I mean? So what did we do? We found the utmost expert, probably the coolest person in any paranormal field in the world. Welcome, right. Dr. Brittany Ann.
Woo!
Thank you.
CPICET. She's got titles, and she's a doctor, Jake.
Wow.
She's the founder and queen of SPIS, at Sarasota's Paranormal Investigative Science. They've been seeking evidence and answers about paranormal entities all over Florida since 2015. Now, I've seen Dr. Brittany Ann actually do paranormal investigations in like haunted theaters, historic sites, and commercial buildings. She does at-home investigations, spiritual cleansings, paranormal evidence analysis, and group investigations. Actually gets a whole group of people together and they go out and do these crazy friggin' things as a group. That's good. I want to ask you about that later in the interview too. So we're actually hoping to set up like a joint investigation between our team and your team, and just go out there and go nuts and see what kind of craziness we can find as soon as this coronavirus crap is all done with.
Yep, that would be totally awesome.
Can't wait for that. So,
I'm impressed.
How are things in Sarasota, Dr. Brittany Ann?
Good. Trying to stay active with everything that's going on. It's so hard to like just stay put. It's just want to get back to what you love doing, but you know, when they tell you to stay in, you got to stay in. So we're trying to go over all old footage and everything else that we had previous to keep people involved. And we're doing some funny videos of paranormal, like who's what and what you're watching on YouTube, and paranormal, is it real or is it fake? Just trying to get people in for laughs, you know?
Yeah, great idea. We're going through a bunch of our old stuff, re-editing stuff. We're about to upload all our stuff on Amazon Prime, and we're taking a lot of the junk out. And I think our shows end up like being 15 minutes when we took all the fluff out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, trimming the fat.
It's got to be good though. Everybody healthy in Sarasota? Anybody
Everybody
know?
Right here. I think hopefully we're on the down slogan now with this COVID.
That's what I've heard too. So you've mentioned that you're actually a doctor. You've got a PhD in parapsychology, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
How many years do you have to go to school for that? So you're like a psychologist, a parapsychologist?
A parapsychologist. It's considered now pseudoscience, but it's a big thing in the paranormal field. It took me about 5.5 years to
wow.
So this is like a legit doctorate degree.
Yes.
So what got you interested? What got you interested in becoming a parapsychologist?
I've always been interested in the paranormal since I was little, and deciphering true paranormal and what's not. Kind of always growing up with this, and my mother being into somewhat of the field in that aspect, really wanting to find what happens after our vessels are gone, and everything that we see on TV or hear. You know, you always want to believe it's true, but finding out more on a scientific aspect, whether it's true or not, really what drove me to this passion.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
100% true paranormal and true facts. I think we all do in this field.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't. A lot of people just, hey, I got this orb, it must be a ghost. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't debunk their own stuff. They kind of sensationalize it. But the stuff I've watched on your YouTube channel, you guys debunk seriously like we do. And we respect that.
Yeah, I love that.
You have to. I mean, we just did the Riddle House a couple months ago, and the world famous Riddle House in West Palm Beach. I mean, everybody's been there and investigated, and we did. And unfortunate for our experience, not saying, you know, it's true or not, but in our eyes, we went in and found nothing paranormal.
Oh, wow.
See, it takes a professional to admit that, Jake. A lot of people don't. They always like, well, let's set something up. Let's pretend, hey, I touched me on the shoulder.
Nah, I hate that. That's phony.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just, we don't want to do it. So I'm really
glad
what
we're about.
That you guys don't do that. I think we're kind of on the same page, and I dig that, man.
Yeah, it does take a lot of, you know, personal strength to admit that there's nothing there. And it's okay to say that. You're not going to catch paranormal activity 100% of the time.
Yeah, absolutely true, man. So you mentioned that you're claircognizant.
Yes.
So can you tell people that don't know what that is, what you explain claircognizant in your words, doctor?
It's one of the clairvoyance. It means clear knowing. Now with that, there's clairvoyance, which is a clear vision of things. So somebody who's clairvoyant can say, I see a little girl to the left of me. Where claircognizance, I have a gift of just knowing things without possibly being told. It happens all the time, but I'm trying to learn to, calm down my ability and not let it take over, because that is something that it does tend to happen sometimes when you're not wanting it to.
Yeah.
So I'm really working with my own abilities now.
I feel like I have part of that too, Jake. I've been talking about, like, I do this empath thing, but I think it's something a little bit deeper than that. Jake has his own set of gifts,
I believe
too.
Everybody does have, there's clairaudience, which means clear hearing. If we're in a quiet room and maybe somebody in your team's like, did you hear that? That's part of a clairvoyance. But I think we all do, but we need to get in the right state of mind and focus our own consciousness to adapt these abilities.
So, doctor, do you have any kind of like exercises for somebody to open up their mind more, to be more clairvoyant?
I do. It's a lot of meditation and self-grounding. I feel like you have to be one-on-one with yourself in order to, let these abilities come out. I mean, everybody with their day-to-day lives is so hyper and crazy and scary. It's so hard for people to reach into that side of their spirituality and focus on that, because everybody's worried about what's for dinner, what are my kids doing, how's my. So I think now with this COVID and everybody's home, I think this is a great time where everybody could stop and focus on themselves to enhance these inner abilities.
Cool. It's going to be a great way to reset and really just kind of focus on what your goals are too. It's just really,
exactly.
It's looking at the bright side.
Blessing in disguise. We all just have to take to the better picture.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you have any claircognizance about this interview today?
No.
Okay, just checking. Hey, how long have you known you've had this gift?
For a while. I started when I was 8 years old.
Wow.
And there's some things like, I just know this is going to happen. Little things too, like, I'm going to get a phone call from this person. It's going to happen. Or as the years go on and I started focusing and studying and researching and getting into spirituality, it's just enhanced more and more and more.
You mentioned your mother had abilities also, something similar to what you have?
Yes. She's very into the spiritual field and into the, spiritual religious, and just very inner working with herself and focusing her inner energy. So I think growing up with that also helped me.
Did she recognize this when you were 8 years old? Did she help you develop this?
She did. When I was 8, we actually moved into a house and I started seeing a man
wow.
And it just, at first she was like, oh, you're just kind of, you're being scared. And she didn't want to frighten me. But then when I told her what he looked like and what he was wearing.
Oh boy.
I actually found out that the lady we bought the house from, her son committed suicide, unfortunately.
Yikes.
And with my description that I gave to them, they were like, whoa, how did she know? So I think that's when my mom really focused on, working with me as a child and not letting me be afraid.
Yeah. Very cool.
These things.
Were you able to talk to this entity? Like a medium would?
I never talked to, for what I could truly remember, I still was scared.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, you're a kid.
I'd love to go back now as an adult to that childhood home and see if, maybe I can help him now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you have the skills of a medium, being claircognizant? Is it similar or something different?
I think it's something different. There's many different forms of, mediums and empaths. And I think right now there's just so many labels to it.
Yeah.
So hard to depict whether you're a medium or an empath. I mean, you're just a spiritual person. And if you could help somebody, then let's just go with that.
Cool.
Have you seen anything that's really, I mean, besides being 8 years old and seeing a dead guy in your house? I mean, have you seen anything that's really kind of spooked you since you've been an adult?
When I was at the Arcadia Opera House, this was about 3 years ago. Now we do group investigations there. But the first time that I was there was the first time I tried to astral project.
Oh, wow.
And I thought it was I was feeling it. And as I was outside of my body, I felt a hand, or what it felt to be a hand, I should say, come on the left side of me and say my name in my ear. And it wasn't like a Brittany. It was a very deep, kind of dark voice.
Oh, no.
Brittany. Jake, say it. Brittany. Is it like that?
It's like,
It's probably Jake. I think it's probably Jake.
And
was it scary? I mean, did you feel inside that like, hey, this is wrong. This is demonic?
I would just say more negative. Yeah. But really? What the scary part was, I couldn't get back. Like, I was seeing it happen, but I wasn't seeing it from face view. It was above view.
So it was like blocking you?
I was like out of body. So I could see it happening from above, but I couldn't get back into my physical vessel.
Ooh, that's scary.
God, dude.
It was like, yeah, it was one of those experiences that I haven't tried to astral project ever since.
Oh, so that deterred you from that, huh?
Is it possible to get locked out of your vessel?
There are many, many different things in readings that say that could happen, and it could put you a comatose state. And
wow.
So it's just so hard. It's something that I tell people when they ask me, if you're not truly experienced in anything like that,
don't do it.
We truly don't know. That's the thing in this field with all of these different spiritual things. We don't know.
Yeah.
So unless you are 100% sure on it, it's something that I don't feel comfortable doing yet again. Because it really
I can't imagine just being like astral projecting and not being able to get back in your body, and your body's just in a comatose state. Where are you then? You're just kind of floating around somewhere?
Yeah, and it's so hard to describe too, and that's the crazy thing. And when I finally met back with my husband and our old partner Chris, they said I was white like the ghosts.
Oh, wow.
Like I was, and I couldn't even talk.
Are you writing a book about your experiences doing all this?
We actually are we're writing a book, and we're more so writing a fact and fiction book on every place that we've gone.
Nice.
Cool.
So taking I'll start something, and then I'll come up with a new idea, and then I'll change and just start with something new, and I'm like, no, let's go back to this idea. So
sounds like our show.
Yeah.
So tell us about Sarasota's Paranormal Investigative. It's not service, it's science, you call it. Tell us about your team. Like, what are their specialties? Besides you, of course.
We have my husband, Daniel Scott, who kind of handles all the audio and all the equipment.
Important.
And he's kind of like my assistant. If I say, help me with this or get this, he's always right there. And if I'm like, are you feeling this? And I'll kind of like flag him. Or he does know when something's going to happen, because I will tend to shut down. And then I get into my focused, not like crazy spastic, but wow, something's going on, because she's calm and quiet. Mm-hmm. So he's always there to be like, okay, this is what's going to happen. And then we have Riley Dexter, who's our videographer, who honestly just puts everything together and films no matter what, is right there on the ball with everything and puts together our awesome videos. So we're a really small team, and we couldn't do what we do without one another. So we kind of just work so well together and everything, and they each have their own little parts that just make it one big whole.
Nice.
Yeah, that's great. Nice, small, succinct. Who does your technical stuff for you guys?
With like equipment and stuff.
Spirit boxes and all. Do you guys use all that stuff?
We do. Well, I'll kind of like use the spirit box at one, but if I feel like I'm catching something upstairs or on a different part, Daniel will go with another, piece of equipment, try to get it somewhere else. And then Riley's just kind of going back and forth trying to film everybody to make sure we document as much evidence as possible.
Yeah. She's got to be in 6 places at once. I know.
Yeah.
Do you guys use any old school stuff like dowsing rods or Ouija boards or tarot cards?
We really don't. I use something called spirit dice, which is kind of a mix between a Ouija board and ancient ruins.
Cool.
And the first time I used them, I bought them off at Etsy a while ago. And you basically like ask a question and you roll the dice and it spells out. And for a while it was, just learning to work with tools. Because 90% of these tools are ancient tools that have been around for years. So even taking EVP recording devices, the first EVP was in the 1800s.
Really?
So yeah, if the coolest things, like doing all this research in school makes you truly think on how, old these devices are that are just made into modern technology.
Yeah.
2 priests in the 1800s actually caught 2 of the first ever recorded EVPs.
Wow.
We're in Italy, so.
Oh wow.
I think
just
Thomas Edison was trying to build a spirit phone.
Yes, Nicholas Tesla.
Yeah. Wow, it goes way back. Unbelievable. What's your favorite piece of equipment?
I like myself.
Yeah.
I feel
awesome.
I feel like I could communicate, and I feel like spirits communicate with me too, because I put myself onto their level.
Nice.
As to a lot of investigators, they're in this to capture, but I'm also in this to help and make a friend in a way.
Nice. Very
That's
cool.
Good.
You mentioned your company is a nonprofit, so you guys help a lot of people kind of just for the good of humanity.
For the good of it. We've gotten in the last 2 weeks like 4 different calls, and it's so hard. I'm working with them over the phone and doing video chats and stuff, but not physically being able to go there and help them is like mind-boggling to me, because I just want to up and do it, but you can't.
Yeah, with this coronavirus, I know. That must be difficult.
It's hard, especially when they're like, this is happening to, my son is seeing this at night. And you're always trying to work with them, to figure out if it is true paranormal or if there's something else happening in the house. And maybe you could help them with that.
Yeah.
Deciphering the two. We do a lot of client credibility before we actually take on a case.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
There's a lot of wackos out there.
For their, safety and ours as well. We want to make sure we're not wasting our time or theirs. It could be something so simple. We had an old couple call us. It was probably about 2 years ago. Sweetest little old man I ever spoke to. Lights were going off on the porch. The doorbell kept ringing.
Oh, wow.
And, him and his wife were very scared. I said, check the breaker, maybe have one of your sons or somebody who comes and help you. I got a call a couple days later, and he was like, yeah, it was a wire. Thank you so much. You want dinner? And I'm like, no, need to, but thank you. He was like, you helped us. And that made me feel so good that something so simple that, somebody was actually getting scared that they thought their house was haunted.
Yeah, it's cool.
She's one of the good guys, Jake. That's kind of like what kind of turned us on to her company. Yeah, we dig that a lot. So I heard that you're following the story of Ethel Allen. And that's really unusual because you're like 3 hours away, and it's unbelievable the reach of this story. Because we're like Jake lives right behind it. Literally, you can walk to Ashley's Tavern.
Yeah, right. 5 minutes away, walk.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We go there as often as we can.
From Sarasota.
Yes.
Where did you originally hear about this?
Just kind of Googling Florida's weird history, that's kind of how we try to find some of the more business haunts, if you'd like to say them, Googling Florida history, like, has anybody claimed to be haunted in this area, and Ashley's came up. And just reading the story at first, I was hooked.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it
Have you-
really touched me, the whole story. And
There's more to it too. There's just so much hearsay on it. Have you been able to read Gail Sheldon's book?
I purchased it on Amazon, and I did not put it down till it was finished.
Yeah.
Read it.
Oh, wow.
Love it. Love Gail.
Unbelievable the amount of research he's put into this thing.
Yeah, years.
I texted and I was like, now I'm on William.
So who do you think did it?
I don't want to say yet because I'm still doing a lot more research myself, but let's just say Gail's very good.
That's what I said. We were at Rec 225, right across the street from where the packing plant was.
Yes.
And we got EVPs. They're kind of a little weird, kind of hard to hear, but it said William did it twice.
Yeah,
And
twice.
the second time, it called William a murderer.
Yeah.
So I was thinking it was the night watchman, but now I'm going back to William now. I don't know.
Yeah,
where
me
you
too.
are.
William, 100%.
I
You
went.
don't have to commit.
No, you don't have to.
Ashley's was the first time that I went there. We were eating, and great food too, by the way. One of the people sitting behind us was talking, and she was asking questions to this girl and her family. And of course, I heard paranormal, so I was like, okay. I ended up talking to her. Her phone broke downstairs in the bathroom, completely shattered, was left
Oh,
on
wow.
They were actually visiting from New York because they were relatives of the Jersey Devil.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
The Jersey Devil.
Yes.
Well, that's William, Jake. That's the Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
Have you read the book yet?
We've been communicating with her on and off, and when I finally make our video, she's going to state, on what happened in there. And it was just coincidental that they were there the same night that we were. And
Nice. That's
phone
fate.
her phone got broke in the bathroom, and it was a brand new iPhone 7.
Ooh.
It just shattered. So that was something. I'm putting a little leak out on there now, but it was just like, whoa, this is really happening as we're here. So we did go downstairs, me and her, and did some EVPs in the bathroom. And then we went back to Georgiana Cemetery. And what happened there, really quick, I'm going to backtrack. See, now you got me started on Ethel.
No, go ahead. This is a great story.
I went in, first we stopped at the cemetery, and I left an offering, Ethel, of a red apple, which is just a spiritual sign of, acceptance, unity. It's like Adam giving Eve the apple. It's just an offering.
Yeah.
Because I do like to take a lot of spirituality into investigations. Well, if you've been to the cemetery, correct?
Yeah. Several times.
Well, there's no caregivers. Nobody really goes there. Well, after investigating Ashley's, we went back about 2:30 in the morning. The apple was completely gone, and a dove feather was left.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's freaky.
And I have the dove feather. And a dove feather, if you're into spirituality and Native American, culture and stuff, dove feathers are a sign of acceptance and moving on.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I truly felt that was her way of saying to me, thank you. And getting that, I'm getting chills, getting that one-on-one communication with her.
Do you think Ethel has passed on and moved on to the next phase?
I don't think so, actually. I think she's still here because it was so traumatic. And until 100% fact is found and put in stone of what happened to her, I think she's still going to be here.
Wow. Well, I think people like you and people like us who are kind of doing something, and people, of course, like Gail, who are doing extensive research. I think we're going to come to a conclusion and figure out who really did this. I'd love to see the investigation reopened. I think Gail's trying to push for that to happen.
Yeah,
I reopen.
It needs to be.
Yeah.
And I just have a very strong connection with Ethel. Everybody talks the Black Dahlia murder on, the West Coast. I feel like ours here, and she needs more publicity than what she's gotten in her life.
Yes, exactly. Amen.
Yeah. So what's next for SPIS? What are you going to do? What's their first investigations once we get out of this crazy quarantine thing?
We are doing, hopefully at the end of May, which fingers are crossed that we can, fulfill this. We have a whole week long East Coast trip that we have.
Nice.
Several different hotels in 2 different theaters.
Wow.
Leaving. When should we be there? We're
You
meeting
guys-
at your place?
More than welcome to come. We're super excited. We've been planning this for a while. So
we had a 4-stop trip. We were going to go to St. Augustine. We're going to go to Savannah. Where else were we going? Charleston. And then back to say we're going to do 4 shows in a weekend, and we got knocked out by this virus thing.
Yeah, we a group investigation that we were hosting actually was supposed to be on the 18th of this month. We had to cancel. Our trip
That's
back.
frustrating.
Yeah, our trip back to Tomapath, Nevada got canceled.
Oh man.
So it's been difficult, and trying to try to book new investigations, and for the future is hard because nobody truly knows, and they can't commit as to you commit.
Yeah,
that sucks, man. So you do group investigations. How does that work? You take how many people do you take into a place?
We do. We like to keep it at a minimum just so they get the full-on experience, and we do Arcadia Opera House because that is truly one of my most favorite places to investigate because there's always activity there.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I had, the most frightening time. But we just go and let everybody, see what we do, use our equipment. I work with people spiritually one-on-one to try to communicate with the spirits. I just think it gives them more of instead of a ghost walk or a tour, you're actually doing what we do in a real haunted establishment.
That's neat.
So they know what it's like. They know, the actual fears that go through, the work that it goes through. It's not just like you see on TV. There is a lot of downtime too. There's a lot of time, people think it's 24/7, excitement.
Nope.
But it's really not. So I think that gives them a true perspective on how a paranormal investigator is.
Yeah.
I love what you guys are doing. And
great work.
Much respect for you. And the whole doctorate thing is crazy, man. 5.5 years.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. It was in March of 2019. I completed my dissertation and sent it in. And that was 72 hours waiting for that email back to say that you passed. And I did with a 96%.
Wow.
So I'm loud. So I was very proud.
What was your dissertation on?
It was on spirit communication.
Yeah. Did you turn that into a show?
Well, I didn't. That's something personal that to me, and it's one of those things where maybe later in the years, if I want to let that out, but it's still so new and I'm still so proud of it that it's like.
That's your book.
You're right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So go ahead.
My professors, they were all great. They worked well with me, and it just.
Where did you go? Like, if somebody wants to pursue this degree, where would you go for this?
There's many different universities out there right now. I can't say, go here, go there. But if you just Google parapsychology, there's many different universities. I went with more of a metaphysical university because I like the spiritual aspect and things too. It has science, but also spirituality, because I feel like that's what this field also needs to have.
Yeah.
You can't just be 100% science without having a little bit of that empath to you, without, feelings and emotions and things like that.
I looked at the University of Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Yeah, like it's $15,000 for this PhD program. 15,000 pounds, which is they're almost 1-to-1 now.
I paid quite a few, and I do regret any of it.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a lot cheaper than some of the other programs. That's for sure.
Oh heck yeah!
I just applied for the Parapsychology Union of the United States, so I hope I get accepted into that.
Well, fingers crossed for you.
Yeah. I hope it works out for
you.
It's a lot more, people will say there's no degrees in paranormal. There is. I'm EVP certified.
Yeah.
There are many things that you need to know. It's not just picking up a recorder and, you know, hearing a voice. There's a voice, there's throat, you know, muscles that you need to learn how a voice can come out. You need to decipher all of these different things.
Wow.
And
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think there was science to it. So it was just kind of picked up. But
there's a science to everything, bro.
Yeah, it's a lot more than people truly think. It's not just, I'm going to be an investigator, I'm going to go out there.
Do you offer lessons on how to be a proper paranormal investigator?
I do lectures. I was actually working on one.
Sweet.
But with all of this COVID happening, we did have to put it off.
And this COVID-19, I just want to punch in the nose.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure.
You know, in a couple of my other lectures, I talk about the different types of hauntings, and, you know, you kind of have to break it down into different fields, because some it'll be like, oh, look, it's a poltergeist. And if you truly people think of poltergeist as ghosts moving things, I don't believe poltergeists are actually hauntings. They're more so our own emotions, which RSPK. So that is our own emotions creating things, especially from adolescence. Yeah. So there's a lot more to it than people say. You know, if you have a thing, I'm just going to say, if somebody's communicating with you that you cannot see, to me, that's an intelligent haunting. I'm not going to break it down to 15 different things. That's an intelligence wanting to communicate with you to figure out why it's wanting to communicate with you.
Are these lectures that you give, are these things that the public can attend?
Yes. There's quite a few places. We were going to be working on a Sarasota Paracon.
Oh,
which,
cool.
We were going to be speaking, having a lecture class. We were going to have a pagan priest come and talk a little about, you know, pagan religion.
It's really awesome.
We were going to have a Christianity person, that didn't come out right, a Christian priest come on and talk about what they do on investigations, kind of putting everybody's aspect into one, because we truly all need to work together, whether you're, you know, a pagan, a Christian, and
sort of like a puzzle coming together.
Exactly. You know, we have to put all our ideas together and work more as a whole, instead of this person stole my idea, this person. We all use spirit boxes. We've all used EMF detectors. We all are communicating and trying to do the same thing. So we need to work together as a whole for the field of science and paranormal, instead of being so cutthroat, because we're not going to make it in the scientific field if everybody's out just, you know, to put out their evidence. We have to work together.
My theory is that paranormal will be proven to be science someday once we figure all this out.
That is my main goal, and love to be up there in the history books with Friedrich Nietzsche and Nikola Tesla is one of the great paranormal investigators.
I think you're on the road. She's on the road, man.
She definitely is, yeah.
Thank you.
So how do people find SPIS and you, Dr. Brittany Ann?
We have a website, spisparanormal.com. You could check us out on YouTube. That's fairly new, and Riley is working so hard to get these videos and everything uploaded, and just, you know, a lot of educational videos. And just like I said, we're throwing out some fun videos now. Cool. And Facebook, Sarasota Paranormal.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks so much for talking with us today.
Thank you for having me.
It was great meeting you.
Yeah, we need to do our big East Coast tour together. I can't wait till all of us get. It'll be a big party.
Yes, we'll definitely have to.
That sounds great. Thank you, Dr. Brittany Ann from Sarasota Paranormal Investigative Science. Look them up on Facebook, YouTube, and on the web. And great stuff, man. And definitely attend one of her seminars. She's the real deal. She knows what she's talking. I mean, don't listen to these idiots. Listen to a doctor.
Oh, listen to her.
A doctorate in it, man. I know.
That's right.
From you. Oh, we praise you. Thanks for coming on. Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too.